black people. And I took a deep breath, like, oh my God, I cannot believe what I just heard. And, I didn't get involved in that conversation or highlight it or cause a scene or nothing because it fizzled out and they just went back to doing something else and we moved on in class.
Were they being sarcastic or were they being
no,
sincere?
This was legitimate conversation. No, and then, on other occasions I had a kid come to me after class because they had heard that I did something with Turning Point USA or they saw me from just something else that I've been involved with in the community say, Mr. Koeppel, such and such teacher is really talking about Joe Biden. It's not fair because why are you talking about Joe Biden in class and then Donald Trump as well? Mostly it's like ridicule towards Donald Trump. And then another class had a BLM poster and a defund the police poster, and the kid's dad was a police officer, full-time police officer. And the kid said, I don't like the poster because my dad's a cop. And then the teacher tried to convince the kid that, defunding the police is necessary. And then the principal parades the kid in the hallway. And so, that actual kid's parents showed up at a school board meeting and shared that entire testimony.
Good.
At one of the meetings I went to after I had went viral. But that's the kind of stuff that was happening in class.
I love that these kids, like the story of the black kid saying, I didn't know I was so impressed, and the white girl saying, I didn't know I oppressed you. Neither of them know that apparently this is a huge part of their life, and yet somehow they don't know about it. But what I love is that you said, well, they moved on to something else. They are resilient. They can be resilient.
Right.
When presented with, your whole life is about being oppressed, and this woman did it to you, and then they went on, and they stayed friends probably, and it's like we could, if we removed these things from the school, we could remove these issues probably completely from America because kids are resilient and they will say, well, I guess maybe you oppressed me, but you know what? I really like you. We're friends. So let's move on. All right, let's move on. But too bad. Tomorrow we're going to go into a classroom and be indoctrinated again.
They don't think anything of it because they look at the teachers as a source of concrete knowledge. If you're a teacher to a child, the teacher is the ultimate source of knowledge.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Apart from maybe Google. So these kids believe whatever their teachers say. If the teacher says something, the kids are like, yeah, well, Mr. Brown said this, and because Mr. Brown said it, I believe it.
Yeah.
Kind of like how it used to be when we'd go to the doctor. It used to be that way, too. Come on.
Yeah, not anymore.
Right?
Not anymore. So it's just sad that you have these teachers taking advantage of their jobs, they're actually civil servant positions because it's all in the public school. It's funded by tax dollars, and they've turned into tyrants running indoctrination camps. You see the videos on TikTok from all around the country. Liberal teachers talking about how liberal they are and their purple hair, don't care.
Yep.
Rainbow flags.
Yep.
10 genders. Don't call me Mr. or Mrs. Call me a B or a Z or whatever the hell they're talking about. So these are the people that are in the system, and they get away with it, and the kids just absorb it, and they absorb it, and they believe it because they think the teacher, because culturally we looked at teachers as a reliable source.
Yeah.
That's what I thought growing up.
That's what I thought too. Yep, absolutely. And you've got one teacher, Jonathan Koeppel, who says, listen, this isn't right. I'm going to stand up. And what do? They fire him. They fired you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
so
it took a whole school year. They let me work there, and they just, every time I went to a school board meeting, why'd you talk about this at the school board, blah, 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 and, come talk to us first. I'm like, dude, this has nothing to do with you as a person. Like, I'm trying to better the system here.
On what grounds did they fire you?
First,
I have a lawsuit. It's a 39-page lawsuit.
Good.
In federal court because there's First Amendment violations, there's medical discrimination. They gave me a medical exemption to not wear a mask at school. They gave it to me. I had the doctor involved. I had it.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, they kicked me off of campus this past August of 2021. First day back at school, they kicked me off of campus, told me to go home as soon as I walk into a teacher breakfast because I wasn't wearing a mask in a cafeteria with about, somewhere between 150, 200 teachers maybe, faculty. Everybody's without a mask, eating biscuits and grits and eggs. And I'm in there also without a mask, and I'm told to leave because I'm not going to wear a mask. I just told I had hearings. I'm like, how do I have a hearing at such and such day and time? Like, how did you already schedule this before I even showed up for work for the first day of the new school year? So they kind of had planned. It was premeditated what they did on the first day of work because they already had a hearing and everything was planned out. So first it was because I didn't wear a mask. Then they forgot I had a medical exemption, so they tried to change it from the mask to, oh, you're unprofessional. We found this tweet where you said you're only able to work with competent people. Are you calling us incompetent? I'm like, idiots. Like, I worked for you. I thought you were competent.
Oh,
so, they brought up all kinds of, tweets, Facebook posts, Instagram. They put up a video of me shooting my AR over the summer.
Oh,
and
they were collecting.
They said, "Are you violent? Are you a threat?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, this is America. I have tons of guns. How am I a threat?" And they said, "Oh, well, did you post this before or after we kicked you off of campus?" I'm like, dude, look at the date. This was over the summer. Are you guys blind? So they pulled all kinds of just discriminatory stuff on me. 400 parents show up to a school board meeting. I'm there. We're all in the parking lot, locked out. I spoke. They let us speak one at a time. It's just hours and hours. We just kept going at it because it was mostly about the mask issue. But the very next day, they said I'm banned from all school board property. And this is after they already kicked me off, and they told me to go home, and I'm having these hearings, and now I'm banned from all school board property and not allowed to come anywhere on any premise, anywhere in my whole parish, which is like a county. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I have my final hearing, and I'm told that I can't go vote if we have an election because I'm banned from my polling place because it's a school. That's my local polling place. It's a little school in my area. And they can't tell me I can't vote. So all this just BS nonsense. And at the end of it, they said, it's a violation of school board policy. That's why you're fired.
Oh, my gosh, Jonathan, when we get back, I want to ask you more about, did you have any other teachers stand with you, support you, and hear some more of your story? You guys are listening to the She's So Right show. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the She's So Right show with Brandie Barclay, Lindsay Graham, and today's special guest, Jonathan Koeppel. He is a viral high school teacher known for standing up to the school boards against BLM, transgender education,
pronouns, masking,
defunding the police, everything conservative, everything anti-conservative.
Racism.
And for that reason, he was fired and canceled, and now he has a pending federal lawsuit against, is it the state? Tell us about that.
It's the whole school board and the superintendent specifically.
Good.
There's a bunch of people, the principal's name, administration's name. We'll see what happens, but that's school board and the superintendent.
Jonathan, did anyone during this time stand up with you? Any other teachers, faculty, parents? What did that look like?
So I want to say yes, but nobody did anything publicly. Because they were also scared that if they said anything or did anything, that they too would be fired.
Wow.
So I had a handful of people come up to me and kind of in private or on the side, shake my hand or give me a hug or pat me on the back. Hey, I'm with you. I believe in what you're doing. I admire what you, but they can't because.
They can. They can.
They can. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they can. They just won't.
They were too scared of
risking. They won't because. Yeah, they just weren't. So it was more parents, a lot of parents, community members, business leaders and stuff like that. We rallied together and we had a big event where we just kind of trolled the school board and the local parish government not long after I was fired. And it was huge, so the community, a lot of the community's with me, but it's just sad because the education community's scared to do anything, like any conservative teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doesn't it just break your heart to know that this is going on? I mean, now you're out of there.
Speak up and you'll be punished.
Yeah. I mean, this is what constantly, over and over, every show somehow we end up on this topic of they're bullies, and they're using fear tactics to get all of us to shut up and shut down. And and you're like standing on your own because everyone's afraid of losing their job. It's just, it's so crazy. They can't even
stand up for something themselves. They can't even stand up for someone else that was willing to stand up. That's how scared they are.
And they've been, and they're such in bad situations financially because of whether it's student loans, just bad financial decisions, credit cards, whatever. If they lose their job, they're done. Like the house is getting taken away, the car is gone. So we have a big issue because the government and then like the money sent people's just personal finances, it makes it really difficult to stand up because we've lost the entrepreneurship. People have just lost that desire to be self-sufficient, and they just rely so much on their jobs and in the public sector. The government jobs, healthcare. Those like everybody's just reliant on Big Brother, on somebody else.
Yeah,
and it's really sad because it's what we're seeing is what happens when you have to rely on them.
Mm-hmm. Big government has too much control, and therefore they can silence us. They can shut us up. They can threaten and bully us. Yeah. And you have so much to lose because it's like all your eggs are in one basket, the government basket.
Yeah.
Why did you? Why did you feel like you had the freedom to do it? What was? I'm sure you thought about this strategically a little bit. Like, if I lose my job, what am I going to do?
So I didn't really think they were going to fire me after I went viral because I was still able to work. And I was like, okay, I guess maybe they hate me, but I can still work here. So that's great. They respect my freedom of speech. I didn't actually think I was going to get fired.
Wow.
It was like a lingering thought.
Well, and you shouldn't.
I knew it was a possibility. I thought it was a possibility, but I didn't think they were going to do it because I was going to, if it happened, I was going to turn around and sue them because it's illegal.
Well, and what a weird concept, too. Like, you spoke about something that is truth. You spoke about facts. You brought the facts to the board meeting. You exposed the facts. There's no fireable offense there.
No, and that none of this should be taught in public school. Not a single ounce of it should be taught in public school.
The roles were reversed, and some teacher was teaching about Jesus.
Oh, girl.
And someone said, I've got a video here where she's teaching about Jesus, and they'd fire the teacher,
Heck
you know? So it's like...
Well, this transgender, queer, gay movement, that's the new religion in schools.
Mm-hmm.
They worked so hard to get rid of Christianity and prayer and all that, but then they replaced it with the rainbow flag.
Sexuality.
And everything that comes with it. Yep.
Sexuality is a religion.
It's all perversion, but that's they got rid of prayer and replaced it with pronouns.
Yeah, I had one of those moments last year where I said, if your crotch determines your entire worldview, that might be the problem. Yeah. I mean, this is what's happening, where a sexual preference is skewing entire worldview.
It's determining every decision you make in your life from day to day.
But adults,
and from then on.
Adults should not talk about sexual anything with children.
You're right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
My gosh.
Let's just hit the nail on the head right there.
Yeah. Why are adults teaching kids about sexuality? That's
and why are teachers coming now into the classroom and all over Instagram saying, I'm teaching them that I'm bisexual? That's none of their business either. Let's talk about this more when we come back. Take a breath. Whew, you're listening to She's So Right. Hey, you guys are listening to the She's So Right show with Brandie Barclay and Lindsay Graham and our special guest, Jonathan Koeppel, who was fired for telling the truth in school as a teacher. All of the terrible things that are happening there, the deconstruction of everything right, everything true, everything traditional, every 10 Commandment. That is what's happening, and he stood alone and is suing them. Thank you. And, Jonathan, I just want to ask you, where are you now? Like, how do you feel? You kind of, as this freedom fighter, what's your stance? What are you looking to be? What are you doing? What's your new job? What's up?
Yeah. Well, I went into construction because nobody would hire me. So I started building fences to deck. And I bought a truck, compressor, nail guns. I've just been doing that since October. That's like the new job. That's not real glamorous. But what I'm trying to do is really go after the root cause of all this nonsense And it's hard to take out a tree unless you